In tonight's story, you'll be visiting a very special museum in Paris. It's a place I know well. It's a place I've visited many times. It's the Musée Rodin. Now, Rodin was one of the greatest sculptors of all time. He sculpted amazing sculptures like The Kiss and The Thinker. You might know them. And in tonight's story, you'll be visiting the museum. But something very interesting will happen while you're there. You'll find yourself, instead of being in the present-day museum, back in Rodin's time, and you'll get to meet the great man himself. If you want the video to end at a particular point, YouTube allows you to set a timer in the settings. And don't forget to disable autoplay to avoid ads from upcoming videos. Okay, let's do the relaxation session, which will take a few minutes before tonight's sleep story. I'm going to count down from 10 to 1, and as I do, allow yourself to let go more and more. 10. Feeling the support beneath you. The support of the bed. The support of the floor. Or if you prefer, the support of the earth beneath all of that. How amazing is it that we are always supported, always held, always allowed to feel grounded, to let our weight go completely, and feel so supported by the earth. Allow this fact to enable you to let go just a bit more. 9. Tune into your body. Where are you feeling tension tonight? Where are you still holding on to? Maybe it's your feet. Maybe it's your hands. Maybe you're still holding in your face. Just release now. Let go. Your body has worked hard for you today. It deserves rest. 8. The day is done. Whatever has been, has been. Whatever will be, will be. And whatever thoughts you might still have in your mind, coming and going, whether they be about what happened today, what might happen in the future, right now they're not useful. So just see them. Recognize them for what they are. Just thoughts. See them as a friend, and then just let them go. Watch them float away like leaves on a river. 7. You are safe. You are completely safe now. My voice will only ever take you to safe, cozy places. Allow my voice to be an anchor of safety. 6. You deserve rest. You deserve sleep. It is your right. There is no guilt or shame attached to rest. So luxuriate in this moment. Enjoy this moment. Enjoy the ability to lie down, to close your eyes, to listen to a sleep story, and to completely indulge in rest. 5. Begin to engage with your imagination now. Begin to see yourself in Paris, the beautiful city of lights. Feel the energy of the place. See the beautiful architecture, and see in front of you a great gate, which behind sits the Musée Rodin that you'll be visiting soon. 4. Maybe allow a little gratitude now. Gratitude for this moment, for the simple pleasure of being able to lie down in a safe space, for your breath, for your body, for people you love. The simple things. 3. Really feel any more sensations now. Do you feel your body warming up? Do you feel your body beginning to relax? Do you feel yourself sinking a little bit deeper? Two, if you want to, take a nice deep breath in now. Breathing in through your nose. Breathing in a sense of calm and peace. And then as you breathe out everything that isn't useful to you in this moment. One, completely letting go now as I tell you tonight's sleep story. Your visit to the Rodin Museum, or Musée Rodin, begins on a tranquil, sunlit morning in Paris. As you approach the museum, the elegant Hôtel Biron, as it was once known, with its classic Parisian architecture, you see how it stands majestically in the middle of a serene garden. The beauty of the building, with its cream-colored facade and graceful windows framed by creeping ivy, is a harmonious blend of art, history, and nature. After getting your ticket, you enter into the courtyard of the museum. You then enter the museum through its grand doors. Doors that have seen many famous artists and people of note walk through, not least Rodin. And you find yourself in a spacious hall and a beautiful staircase in front of you. You climb the stairs and walk through various rooms, each dedicated to different periods of Rodin's life and work. Rodin lived in the 19th century in Paris. He lived during La Belle Époque, one of the most exciting and artistically vibrant periods in all of human history. And as you walk through this museum, you begin to get a feeling of that time. The museum, with its high ceilings and soft, natural light, creates an atmosphere of hushed reverence, inviting you to explore at a leisurely pace. You first decide to look at some of Rodin's earlier works. Here, each sculpture and bust is displayed thoughtfully, allowing you to appreciate the details and the evolution of Rodin's style. You're drawn to a sculpture then, titled The Age of Bronze, a life-size figure that captures the beauty and complexity of the human form. Rodin was obsessed with the human form. The realism of the sculpture is striking. Every muscle and sinew is rendered with such precision that it seems almost alive. Breathe in this moment where you are being given permission to be curious, to learn from a great artist of the past, to be in a beautiful place and enjoy this enchanting atmosphere, to be surrounded by some of the greatest art ever created by the human hand. You move to a bigger room, and you are greeted by the very famous sculpture, The Kiss. A man and a woman in an embrace. This sculpture can say a million different things to a million different people. But when I have seen it, I always feel the comfort that we find in love. You circle around the sculpture, observing the expressions that are being conveyed. It's a powerful reminder of Rodin's ability to convey deep emotions through different mediums. Eventually you exit the room and you find yourself in a corridor that leads to a quiet, sun-drenched courtyard. This outdoor space is home to several of Rodin's sculptures, gracefully positioned among the greenery. The garden, a blend of art and nature, is a peaceful haven in the midst of the bustling city. You take a moment to sit on a bench, surrounded by the beauty of the sculptures and the gentle sounds of the garden. You then go and find perhaps one of Rodin's most well-known sculptures, perhaps one of the best-known sculptures ever created. In this quiet circular garden, you find yourself in a private audience with the thinker, Sitting on a bench directly opposite the sculpture, you take a moment to just breathe in the serenity of your surroundings, feeling a unique sense of connection with this masterpiece. You can't take your eyes off it. The thinker is perched atop a stone pedestal, dominating the space with its introspective presence. The figure of a man, larger than life, sits in deep contemplation, his elbow resting on his knee, his hand supporting his chin. As you gaze upon the sculpture, you're struck by the exquisite detail Rodin has managed to capture in bronze. The muscular tension of the figure's back, the furrows of his brow, and the overall posture speak of a profound internal struggle or a search for deeper understanding. The natural light of the garden plays upon the sculpture, highlighting the texture of the bronze, the play of shadows and light, accentuating the thoughtful expression and the physicality of the figure. You observe the thoughtful pose, reflecting the statue's name, and you can't help but ponder yourself. What deep thoughts might be consuming him? Is he contemplating the nature of human existence? The mysteries of the universe? Or the struggles of the human experience? As you sit there, the rest of the world seems to fade away, leaving just you and the thinker, or as it's known in French, le penseur, in a moment of shared stillness. It's almost as if the sculpture invites you to join in its contemplation, to take a step back from the everyday and engage in your own introspection. The garden around you is peaceful. The occasional rustle of leaves or distant sound of the city, merely background to this moment of quietude. You let your eyes roam over the sculpture, taking in every detail, every line and curve that Rodin has masterfully created. The thinker is more than just a piece of art. It's a meditation on the human condition, a symbol of the intellectual struggle, and a testament to Rodin's skill. Now, you read in your guidebook that the Musée Rodin was actually Rodin's studio in the 19th century. You quietly wish that you could have been alive in those times and witnessed the great man at work. To visit Paris in La Belle Époque, what a thing. Then you close your eyes and you just begin to imagine it. The world, the smells, the sounds. Then you actually hear the distant clatter of a horse carriage in the distance, and you open your eyes, and the thinker isn't in front of you anymore. You stand up and look around. The grand house is still there, but it looks somehow different, and the surroundings have changed significantly. The realization dawns on you that the whole world around you has transformed. The garden, once quiet and solitary, now bustles with the vibrant energy of a different era. You're standing in the same place, but you realize that you've been transported back in time to the 1880s, the heart of La Belle Époque in Paris. As you take in your surroundings, the smell of fresh paint and clay wafts through the air, mingling with the scent of blooming flowers in the garden. You realize that you are indeed at Auguste Rodin's studio, the very place where the master created his renowned works. With a sense of awe and disbelief, you walk towards the studio. Inside, the space is alive with artistic endeavor. Sculptures in various stages of completion fill the room, and the walls are adorned with sketches and paintings. In the center of the studio, focused intently on his work, stands Auguste Rodin himself. Rodin's presence is commanding. His hands skillfully shaping a piece of clay that will eventually become one of his timeless works. He glances up, noticing you, and his discerning eyes hold a spark of curiosity. Art is the expression of the soul, he says, in French, but you understand him. His voice is rich and measured. It's a reflection of our deepest emotions, our struggles, and our triumphs. To create is to live, to connect with the very essence of what it means to be human. You watch, mesmerized, as Rodin returns to his work. His movements a dance of creation. The opportunity to witness one of the greatest sculptors in the act of creation is a profound experience. His words echo in your mind, a piece of wisdom that transcends time, connecting his era to yours. As you stand in the studio, surrounded by the creative energy of the 1880s, perhaps you feel a deep connection to this historical moment. Rodin, engrossed in his work, shapes the clay with a kind of passionate focus, a deeply human focus, an ability like his is rare, and to see it firsthand is astounding. It is comparable to seeing Da Vinci paint. For Rodin is one of the greatest sculptors to ever live. You take a moment to quietly observe the details of the studio, the way the light filters through the window, casting shadows on the sculptures and sketches that fill the room. The studio is a realm of artistic chaos and beauty, with tools scattered about, pieces of clay and marble in various corners, and the air filled with the tangible presence of creative endeavor. This is a simpler time you are in, a time when humans had such an opportunity to deeply delve into their work without distraction. Rodin pauses, wiping his hands on a cloth. He looks at you thoughtfully. Art, he begins, is not about perfection. It's about emotion, about capturing the essence of the human spirit. Each stroke, each shape should speak of the artist's journey, their truth. Remember, what we create is a reflection of our own soul. Perhaps his words resonate with you, striking a chord deep within. Here, in the presence of one of the greatest artists of the era, you feel an overwhelming sense of inspiration. The studio, with its bustle and artistic fervor, feels like a portal to understanding the heart of creativity. After a while, you step outside the studio, back into the garden. The Paris of the 1880s is alive around you. You walk around the garden, where some of Rodin's sculptures stand, their forms even more poignant, knowing they are fresh from the artist's hands. You hear the sounds of carriages in the distance, the chatter of people walking along the streets, and the general hum of a city at the peak of its artistic renaissance. As you wander through the garden, absorbing the sights and sounds of this historic era, the experience, of course, feels surreal. A journey through time that has allowed you a glimpse into the life and work of a master artist. Rodin gestures for you to come back, and heeding his call, you return to the studio, where the artist now invites you to try your hand at sculpting. He sets a small piece of clay before you on a wooden table, alongside a few basic sculpting tools. The thought of creating something under Rodin's guidance is both exhilarating and daunting, but his presence is reassuring, encouraging even, and you feel safe. Sculpture is a conversation between the artist and the medium. Rodin begins. Listen to the clay. Let it guide your hands. He demonstrates a few techniques, showing you how to mold and shape the clay, his fingers moving with a grace that only comes from years of dedication to his craft. You tentatively begin, your fingers pressing into the cool, pliable clay. There's a meditative quality to the act of sculpting, a deep focus that draws you away from the noise of the world and into the present moment. The clay feels alive under your touch, responsive and yielding. As you shape it, Rodin speaks softly, sharing his philosophy. Each of us has an innate ability to create, to bring forth something beautiful from the depths of our soul. It's not just about technique or skill. It's about expression, about bearing a part of yourself in your work. His words flow over you like a gentle stream, soothing and insightful. You find yourself lost in the rhythm of sculpting, the world around you fading into a blur. The clay begins to take shape under your hands, not into any specific form, but into an expression of the tranquility and introspection you feel in this moment. Eventually, you step back, looking at the piece you've created. It may not be a masterpiece, but it's a physical manifestation of your thoughts and feelings. A tangible piece of your time in Rodin's world. As the sculpting lesson concludes, Rodin suggests a walk into the heart of Paris, an opportunity to see the city through the eyes of an artist during La Belle Époque. You leave the studio behind, stepping into the bustling streets of 1880s Paris, a world teeming with life and creativity. The architecture of their buildings, with their ornate facades and wrought iron balconies, speaks of an era that valued beauty and artistry in every corner. As you stroll through the streets, Rodin points out the various sights and sounds of the city. You pass by lively cafes where artists and writers gather together, engaged in animated discussions, and street vendors selling flowers and freshly baked goods. The aroma of coffee and pastries fills the air, mingling with the scent of blooming flowers from the nearby parks. Rodin shares his observations about the city and its inhabitants. Paris, he says, is more than just a city. It's a source of inspiration, a place where artists and dreamers come to find their muse, the energy, the light, the people. They all contribute to the amazing life of this place. You walk along the Seine, watching the gentle flow of the river that has been the backdrop to so many artists' works. The water reflects the city's lights and the sky's changing colors. Boats glide gracefully along the river, and as the evening sets in, the city lights begin to twinkle, casting a magical glow over the streets. Your walk with Rodin through Paris is not just a physical journey, but a journey through the heart of art and culture. It is a moment you will never forget. As you open your eyes, the familiar sight of the thinker in the peaceful garden of the Musée Rodin greets you. The transition back to your own time is both sudden and gentle. For a moment, you sit there, taking it all in. The echoes of your extraordinary journey into the past still resonating within you. You stand up from the bench, feeling a profound connection to the sculpture before you. The thinker no longer seems just like a masterpiece of art. It feels like a bridge between the past and the present, between your encounter with Rodin and the world you live in. You continue your walk through the museum. Each piece you see now feels more alive, more meaningful. The other visitors around you appreciate the art, each in their own way. But you carry with you a secret, a personal connection to Rodin's world, a memory of a conversation with the artist himself. And as you have this thought, you put your hand in your pocket and you feel something there. You take it out. It is your sculpture that you created in La Belle Époque. Your proof that it really happened.